All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 16-3, in which they make us do bar muscle ups. So most of you guys are kind of scratching your heads around this. Can I do a bar muscle up? There's no way in hell I can do a bar muscle up. Why on earth did they throw bar muscle ups in here? Personally, I'm kind of glad to see the bar muscle up. I think if we're thinking about a group of people who are going to huck themselves at a movement as if they were running from a rabid pack of zombies, the bar muscle up is significantly safer than the ring muscle up. However, there are some things that we want to think about. So, 16-3, we've got 7 minutes of 10 snatches and 3 bar muscle ups, right? You guys know all this stuff by now. The snatches are really light. This is a throwback to, I think it was 2011. We had the snatches and double unders workout. So we're looking at these snatches being something that you can move pretty efficiently. And if the prescribed weight for the snatches is something that is not terribly confident for you, if you're not really confident about the weight on that bar, we want to make sure we get a good skill-based warm-up on that snatch and make sure that we're really sort of prepped to be as efficient as possible there. If you watched the announcement, we watched some of those guys doing things that I hate to even call a snatch. It was a lean over, stand up with a barbell in their hands. The weight was so light for them. So the snatches are going to be, you know, a lot of folks are going to have a score of 10 on this. We get to the bar muscle ups, and here's where a lot of us get really stuck. And the bar muscle up requires a couple of things. It requires a strength for a fairly deep dip. It requires a strength for a fairly high chest to bar pull up. And just like a ring muscle up, it requires that, you know, magical bar muscle up fairy to come over and wave their wand so that you can get from below the bar to on top of the bar. Developing the bar muscle up as a skill is something that you're going to want to take some time with a coach, go through some progressions. Hopefully they can help you find that movement. There's a ton of video resources out there, internet resources out there on movement tutorials and things like that, so I'm not going to go into the skill of this a lot right now. Strategy-wise, your strategy is going to really depend a lot on how well you can do this, right? If this is a strong movement for you, you want to try to use these snatches, you want to try to live close to I would say 80% of a red line pace for you, right? It's only 7 minutes, and normally my advice is always pacing. Control your heart rate, control your breathing, get all that stuff dialed in. With only 7 minutes, we can kind of push that limit a little bit, unless the bar muscle ups are something that you either A, don't have, or B, only have occasionally, or C, maybe you're hoping to get maybe your first one with all the adrenaline of the people cheering. If this is a weak movement for you, you want to pace yourself here so that you can walk over to that bar and feel like you're pretty good to go. It's going to give you a much better chance of nailing a couple. Missed reps over and over here for 6.5 minutes is A, not fun, B, not productive, and C, you're going to walk away wishing that the workout had been something else, right? Which maybe you already are. Again, if it's a strong movement, you can kind of power through these snatches and push your aerobic capacity just a little bit harder and try to get into these bar muscle ups with a little bit of a higher heart rate because you know that movement is stronger for you, right? We also hear a lot of folks, there's a seemingly huge discrepancy between the prescribed and the scaled workouts on this one. So the scaled workout, rather than 3 bar muscle ups, is chest to bar, jumping pull-ups, right? Understand that 10 snatches, 3 bar muscle ups for that top level of open competitor, CrossFit Games competitor. If you watch the announcement, throwdown, they were getting 8, 9. I wouldn't be surprised to see 10 rounds coming out of this week's workout. That's a ridiculous amount of work, right? And for those guys, this weight, 75 pounds, and the bar muscle up here, those are easy movements. So the scaled variation of this, empty barbell snatches, jumping chest to bar pull-ups, this is designed to keep you moving fast. It's 7 minutes. We want you to push yourself. We want you to crush it, even if that means you're using the scaled version. So rather than whining about how come it's chest to bar jumping pull-ups, how come they made us do bar muscle ups, yada, 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 right? I want you to go in there with the idea that this is a 7-minute sprint, and your job is to lay it all on the line. With that said, because it's a short workout equals long warm-up. You really want to have the metabolic engines primed for this one, right? Unless you're somebody who is too stubborn to move from the RX division to the scaled division. If you're really dead set on getting a score of 11, or maybe 12, or maybe 13, right? But it's going to take you the majority of 7 minutes to get those 3 bar muscle ups done. Then your warm-up maybe doesn't have to be as intricate, right? You can kind of walk your way through this one. You still want to warm up. You want to warm up shoulders primarily, also hips and into that snatch progression. Bergner warm-up is a great skill-based warm-up. Some of our barbell complexes that we use are some great skill-based warm-ups. If you are scaling or your bar muscle-ups are strong, our warm-up wants to get the aerobic engine primed, so we're looking for probably twice as long of a warm-up, 14 minutes, as we expect to work, plus 5-ish minutes of rest after you warm up to get yourself set for this. This should include some skill work, including the Bergner warm-up or those barbell complexes I talked about, right? It should include some pulling, and some pushing. Some jumping bar muscle ups are a great place to be, to get that pulling, pushing movement in there, kind of figure out how that movement works for you, get it warmed up a little bit. Also, anything that's going to help open up your shoulders, some dynamic stretches through the shoulders, and stuff that's going to get your heart rate up, right? So rowing, ski erg, things like that, jump rope are all going to be good. This is all going to help you get your heart rate up, break a sweat, breathe hard, and then give yourself that few minutes of rest before you dive in here, right? If you're looking for some more specific strategy and hints on, crushing the RX division, I really suggest you go check out the Outlaw Way or any number of other great resources that are out there in terms of pacing for that. If you're scaling this, which is most people, really, to be honest, most people going through this jumping chest to bar pull-up and the lightweight snatches. The snatches will use a lot of shoulder, and because it's such a lightweight, I think strategy-wise, probably a muscle snatch or a very shallow power snatch are going to be your best bet. The chest to bar jumping pull-ups are much more aerobically demanding than you expect them to be, and they really do fry your legs as well as that pulling movement with the arm. So, taking the time to really warm up through some of the skill work, the efficiency of that snatch movement is going to make a huge difference. Pacing-wise, I think that you guys probably have a good idea about where you hope to end up, where you think you want to be, and start to think about this in terms of reps per second with a little bit of transition time in between the two movements. If you're looking at a set of 10 unbroken snatches, this set right here is probably 20 to 30 seconds, right? Couple seconds of transition over to a set of jumping chest to bar pull-ups. If you do these all in a row, these again are probably going to be about 10 seconds. They're going to go fairly quick. This puts you under a minute, easily under a minute, potentially about a half a minute worth of movement. You can add a good 5 to 7 seconds of transition time in there. It gets you a pace that will set you up for 7 or 8 rounds. And that's going to be a pretty solid score on this. If you want to try to push this a little bit faster, you're not necessarily going to speed the snatches up. Chest to bar pull-ups maybe could get sped up a little bit for those of us that are jumping, but where you're going to pick up the time is in the transitions. However, if the transitions are so fast that you run out of gas and things are falling apart, you're going to end up with a lower score than if you had paced yourself a little bit more intelligently out of the gate. In terms of mobility, really, we're not dealing with a deep overhead squat, so I want you to focus mostly on shoulders and specifically on internal rotation. This is going to help set us up for the hang portion as we're coming through the bottom of the snatch. It's also going to help set us up for coming over the bar if you're doing bar muscle ups. For those of us jumping chest to bar pull-ups, or if you're master's division, unassisted chest to bar pull-ups, shoulders are still going to be a priority for warm-up and mobility. Hit the thoracic spine. T-spine is going to help you get the kip dialed in. Movement through the spine is really important there. Hips are still going to be important even though we're not doing a lot of squatting. I always am harping on getting the front of the hip open. That's going to be important here as well. It'll help on the extension with the snatches. It'll help on the kip with the bar muscle ups or unassisted chest to bars. And having a good lower body warm up and mobility is going to be important for the jumping chest to bars also. All right? So hopefully you guys aren't too terribly frustrated with the workout they announced this week. I know we all love to hate on Dave Castro and what they program. But remember, the scaled option is really designed to help get you into that same metabolic range, into that same workload range as the elite folks doing the RX division. So don't whine about it, don't bitch about it, show up, throw down, work hard, and show your community what you're made of. All right? Hopefully that gives you guys some things to think about. Again, I'll see you at the gym.